The Tohoku earthquake was the largest in Japan's history. The tidal wave that followed it was the first recorded instance of emerging tsunami, a kind of double wave that crosses long distances without losing power. Many people lost everything. The one thing that held was the family bond.
I first visited the destruction zone about 3 months after the earthquake. Television gave me an idea, but when I got there, I was just overwhelmed by the scale of the destruction. Talk about the power of nature. You really have to see it to understand. And the people who lived through it. I was deeply worried about their state of mind and whether I'd be welcomed.
Bruce Osborne has been photographing Oyako for 30 years. Oyako is a Japanese word meaning parents and children together. In 2003, he started Oyako Day, a yearly event that celebrates the ties between a mother and father and their child.
It's become such an important theme for us, and we're thinking what we could do to help the families in Tohoku. What I saw in the news was so heartbreaking, but I just didn't want to go there and take pictures of suffering. Then I heard from a news photographer that many people had lost all their family photos, and he was often asked to take their pictures. So I decided I should go there and take a look.
Bruce first visited the city of Soma in Fukushima Prefecture, 40 kilometers away from the nuclear plants where the accidents took place.
You can't go to Fukushima without thinking about the radioactivity. My wife and I really didn't have a clear answer of what we could do, but we knew we had to go. With everything in the news, decided it was best to wait until we returned before telling our daughters in New York about this trip. You can't see radioactivity. Maybe this beautiful countryside might be full of it, but life still goes on. So when it came time to take my first picture of this parent-child at Soma Shrine,
the family came dressed in the traditional armour and helmet worn for the local festival at Soma. They dressed up especially for Bruce's photograph. This was a very special occasion for them. The earthquake and the nuclear accident have made quality time scarce. The horse was a runaway from the condemned area near the plants, another casualty.
I really had kind of a mixed feeling about it, but somehow when they got together, I saw them in front of the camera, it just felt really natural and just, it was a great start. Everything went from there.
The Hayashia is a Japanese-style hotel near the seaside at Soma. The tidal wave washed away its entire first floor. The owner asked Bruce to come by to take a photo of her with her son.
Okay. はい。
林慎太郎です。学校の時に地震になったの。ちょうど帰る時ね。
What about your house?
そう、大丈夫ですね。
And where were you?
私はちょうどこの子を迎えに行って学校で一緒に地震に遭いました。そんな大きな津波が来ると思わないから大丈夫大丈夫ってみんなでいて、でもこれはただごとじゃなさそうだって言って逃げたんですよ。もう全壊になってもう取り壊しなんです。
ワン、ツー、スリー。はい、いいせーの。いいせーの。はい、もういいせーの。
They were so full of strength and energy. We took a break, and the hotel owner's son, Shintaro, he took me on a tour of their ryokan.
ここはなんか食事とかイベントとか歌とか歌う時にここ使ってました。
Party room?
宴会場、ここにもまっすぐの宴会場で、じゃあもう一つありますんで、ここはホタテとか焼けるものを焼いていました。で、これはお皿とか洗ってきれいにするものに使ってました。次行きましょう。
The tidal wave had left the place in shambles, but Shintaro showed it all off, room by room, as if it was business as usual. His vision, his belief, and his hope,
でもガラスが割れてめちゃくちゃになりました。
all against that backdrop of destruction. It brought tears to my eyes.
OK。
はい、そのまま自然だよ。
で、しゃがんでもいいですか。
Yes, good.
正しい。
はい、いいせーの。はい、OK。
Until then, I had been seeing these people in a monochrome suffering. But as I watched Shintaro through my finder, all the colors came back on.
Mr. Watanabe operates a pig farm on a hill overlooking Soma City. His farm made it through the earthquake, but his home was hit by the tidal wave.
I took this picture of him holding this piglet with his daughter, and he told me that his daughter was pregnant. It's hard to believe because looking at him, they almost look like a couple. He's so young.
The earthquake buried the landscape in rubble. After 3 months of non-stop work, a great deal of it has either been cleared off or centralized. However, the damage done by the tidal wave is still very apparent. It paints a picture of tragic loss, visible to anyone.
The Matates are carpenters, and they're out there every day rebuilding homes. When they were taking a break, I asked if I could take their pictures.
今ここ来る途中こっちが下でしょ、はい、ここから来る途中に信号地あったでしょ。こっちから行って左側にずっと上がっていく道の家。
And yeah, you know, the father was so warm and open, really made it easier for me to connect with him. But at the same time, I could just tell they really must have seen some really hard things.
大変ですね。死体なんて運んだ時ないのに、死体運んだりもしましたから。そうなんですか。
Parents and children each have their own story to tell, but when they come together in front of the camera, there's a mutual strength that always impresses me.
Boats were swept out of Soma's harbour, just as in many other places along the eastern coastline. Some landed miles inland.
However, in front of the camera, these people seemed so untroubled. I wondered why. Anyway, I asked them, somebody said, I've cried too many tears. Now I've got left just my smile.
自分は逃げたんだけど、うちに残ってた母親だけは未だに行方不明。
All the destruction was just so brutal to see.
But at the very edge of the catastrophe, these parents and children, they're supporting each other in ways that will get them past it. Seeing them through my camera lens was very inspiring for me. My photo sessions were a way of cheering them on, but it was also saved a memory of this important moment in their lives.
On July 24th, Oyako Day was celebrated for the 9th consecutive year. One family from the hard-hit city of Sendai came all the way to Tokyo to participate in the event. All of their photo albums had been washed away by the tidal wave, so they were coming to Oyako Day to commemorate a fresh start for the rest of their life.
ぜひ撮っていただいて、その写真を大事に新しいお家っていうか今仮設なんですけど、ここに飾っておこうかなと思って。お座る人もいたね。座ってダメなの。お座りしていいですか？どうぞ。
絆っていうかね、つながりが持てて、おズボンさんには感謝です。皆さんの感謝。
みんなで力を合わせて頑張ります。はい。
I'm so happy that this family came today. It reaffirmed that the family portrait is really special. And it also gave me a push. I knew I had to go back to Tohoku.
In October, Bruce went back to the Tohoku region. He travelled from the southern Sanriku coastline to Tarucho, 300 kilometres across northern Japan. Every place along the long eastern coastline had its share of destruction. The overall scale of the devastation is dumbfounding, but each village and town has pulled itself together and begun in their own way the long process towards reconstruction.
The powerful spirit they showed me gave me courage to keep pushing forward.
In Kamaishi, the destruction was brutal. Mr. Kikuchi showed Bruce a series of photos he'd taken before, during, and after the onslaught of the tidal wave. In one of the pictures, you can see his daughter fleeing. Mr. Kikuchi didn't realize it at the time, but the worried look on her face was not just for her own safety, but also for her mother, who had just been caught by the tidal wave.
雨どいに捕まってて、そのうちも流されてて、すごい勢いで瓦礫が流れてるのを見ながら、流れてましたね。
じゃあ slowly together. 自分のなんか得意なポーズが、かっこいいなポーズが。いいせーの。いきますよ。
I went to photograph the Kikuchis, but when I wasn't taking pictures of them, they were photographing us.
いいせーの。やりたい。せーの。よいしょ。
And in the end, their son joined us for the last shot that his father took.
とても面白かったです。面白かったです。楽しく撮影させていただきました。
It was a short visit, but time enough for the photographers to become friends. From that point on, Bruce felt much more at home with the people of Tohoku, both welcomed and accepted.
早いですね、本当に。
私の後ろ、こんなにカメラマン一瞬でやってる。
The following day, the Kikuchis sought Bruce out at his next location, where they presented him with copies of the photographs they'd taken.
It was such a nice memory for all of us. And all I can say is, thank you.
The town of Otsuchi was also badly hit. The Abe family runs a carpentry business. The father is recognized for his craftsmanship. When Bruce visited, the house was trimmed with flowers and didn't look like it had been touched. They're far away from the beachfront, but in fact, the tidal wave did come through here. Both Mr. Abe's daughter and son help out with the carpentry business.
機械もほとんど壊れて、修理したり中古で、全国から取り寄せて揃えて始めましたね。
もうやめっぴがのもたたのにみんな近い未来だからまあ息子の将来もあるから借金すき。
ちょっとだけだ。いっせーの。よく見て。もうちょっと超えた。はい。はい。じゃあ。
うん。大丈夫ですか？普通でいいですか？
The Kikuchi and Abe families told the story of how they got through the catastrophe.
裾野湯もね、津波だったけど大丈夫でしたったの。裾野葉がいっぱいになってさ、3日間水の中に3日間いたみたいでね、水が引けなくて、4ヶ月かかりましたこうなるのに。で娘がほら、お母さんそれ以上大変な人なんだがここで我慢しようということで、一つのラーメンを3人で食べて。
Mrs. Kikuchi was listening, and with all that she had gone through herself, you could just see how moved she was by hearing this story.
Mr. Abe's daughter, Mikako, heard about the earthquake and tidal wave while in Madagascar, where she was working as an overseas volunteer.
私はですね、マダガスカルという国にいました。ちょうど帰ってきた時に父がもう水を川に汲んで歩ってきて、みんなでもう掃除を片付けを始めてました。なんか避難所とかにいるのかなと思ったんですが、もうその時には家族が普通の生活に戻ろうと。なのでその時は泣いてられないなと思って。
ミカゴが来た時もちょうど何にもなくてね、いただいたおかゆを3人で食べたりね。思い出した。
最初は本当に、食べるものもやっぱ少なかったので。ね、電気もなかったですし、限られたもので生活してました。震災の時会った時に私が向こうに行ってすごい後悔したんですよ。なんで近くにいなかったんだろうって。だからやっぱ家族のそばで暮らすのがいいのかなって思いました。やりたいことも本当はいっぱいあるんですけど、やっぱ今はここにいるのがいいのかなと思って、とりあえず今は父と母のそばで暮らしています。
I have 2 children myself, and what Mikako said really hit home. When a family works together, they can accomplish anything.
Bruce decided to stop by on his way back home to personally deliver a copy of the photograph he had taken of Mr. Watanabe and his daughter.
前のブータちゃん会いに行きましょうか。 またねえ、だからもうその頃もうだからちょうど4ヶ月前撮りました。
はい。
ね。
4ヶ月前だから。
さっきブタちゃんも。
She had had her baby just 2 weeks before Bruce came back. The daughter was now a mother. And that young father, a grandfather. The baby was given the name Rihanna, which combines the Japanese character for love with the character for bond.
はい、じゃあ準備 OK みんな。リアナ？リアナ。リアナ。おはよう。Rihanna's name really says it all. That bond is everything we need to live through this hardship. ここもあった。We drove more than 300 kilometers across the disaster zone. The scale of the destruction is just mind-boggling. But things are slowly coming back. I remember seeing flowers and vegetables growing out of the rubble.
After the first trip, the big change was it became much more personal. I got to know the families. And their will to live on and to smile again was really breathtaking. They set an example for all of us.
The most important moment to see, to focus to right now. And through that family photo, I feel like I can look at the past and the future. Because the family's history, the parents are linked to the past, and the children are the bridge to the future. Say no jump! Say no jump! Say no go! Arigato. Present to the future. Gambare, Oyako.